Starting to exercise can be tough. Maybe you are trying a new sport, or you want to start going to the gym, or you would like to start running. It can be tough. It can be really tough because you have to be consistent, you have to build a schedule, you have to kind of develop an entirely new routine. There are so many different things that are involved with beginning a new exercise program or movement program, or however you would like to define this exercise regime or workout program, right? So when we start exercising for the first time, we have a lot of insecurities, maybe around how our body looks, maybe our skill level if we're starting a new sport. Maybe you want to start going to the gym, but you really don't have a clue about how to use some of the equipment at the gym, or you're starting to run, you're a bit slow, maybe you start yoga, you're really inflexible, you don't know the sequences. There are a lot of fears and a lot of problems, I guess, maybe that we have to overcome when we are starting to exercise for the first time. But in many ways, we can allow ourselves some grace. We can allow ourselves some grace and forgiveness because, well, hey, we're beginners. Yeah, I've just started running, so maybe I'm a bit slow, but I'm just starting out. Or maybe you go to a yoga class and you're struggling to touch your toes even, let alone to do some of the poses that these vinyasa instructors like to include in some of their classes. So you can allow yourself some grace, right? You can give yourself that space to grow because, in fact, you're a beginner. But if you are someone who is returning to exercise, it can be even more difficult. Maybe you're someone who was injured, so you had to take time off. Maybe you are a woman who is pregnant, or you've recently given birth, so you had to take some time off from your typical exercise routine. Or maybe you just kind of got busy with work and life and your exercise habits kind of fell by the wayside. But now you're interested in starting again. I think that it's way more challenging to start exercising again than it is to start exercising or learning a new sport, or going to the gym, or starting some sort of new movement practice for the first time. When you start something for the first time, as I said, you have that grace, that forgiveness, even the understanding of those who are around you that, hey, this person has never been to the gym before. Maybe they don't have a clue what they're doing, and so they also allow you some space and grace for, or maybe they even come to help you to learn how to do something. But if you're someone who has been going to the gym previously, maybe, I don't know, you took a short time off, or maybe you had to take an extended period off. But when you go back to the gym, you compare you to you previously. And it can be really frustrating for those who have been really committed to their exercise programs prior to having to take time off, and then wanting to return, because those people are comparing themselves to a previous version of themselves, which is better than where they are at this current moment. For those who are just starting to exercise, when you compare you to you, you're progressing, right? You have nothing else to compare to. Maybe those around you, but that's not you. For those who are returning, it can be more difficult because maybe you know that you were able to lift a certain amount of weight. Maybe you know that you were able to run a certain distance or a certain speed, or play your sport at a certain level, or whatever it may be, right? And so you're comparing you in the moment, who has been injured, who has taken time off, who for whatever reason is not at the level that you used to be. So it's tough. It's really tough. And a lot of times people can become discouraged when they have to start exercising again. I know that happens to be the case with me. I have been, I don't know how to make this story short. I'm gonna do the best I can. I've always been just kind of active. I used to enjoy running. I was a yoga instructor for some time. I was a fitness trainer for moms for some time. And I would say that I was in pretty good shape. But I moved to a new place. I had a new job. I had a lot of different things that were going on in my life. And so my exercise kind of just fell by the wayside. I also was a bit injured for a while because when you work as a fitness trainer, it puts a lot of stress and tension on your own body. And so you have to be careful that you don't end up injured, like was in my case. So now I have been trying for about the past year or a little over a year to get back to those levels I was before. And it is taking a long time, and it is really tough because I have ended up injured in different ways. I'm dealing with some tendonitis in my foot that doesn't seem to want to go away. I have decided to return to an alternative yoga practice that I quite enjoy. And I've discovered that, wow, you used to teach this alternative yoga practice. You were real strong, real flexible. Now you feel a little bit weak. So I'm dealing with that. And there's just a lot of things that kind of go through my mind when it comes to returning to this movement practice. I know that these too will pass, everything will pass, but it's important for those who are returning to their exercise programs for whatever reason to allow themselves some grace and forgiveness. You have to kind of take on that beginner's mindset once again. You cannot compare you of 1 year ago, 6 months ago, even 2 months ago, if that's the case, to where you are at the moment. You have to approach it as if you were a beginner. You have to start at the beginning. By doing so, you will start to see those improvements that you're looking for, and it will help to keep you safe. It will help to keep your body from becoming injured or from pushing too hard. And I know, that can be a really difficult thing. So whether you're starting to exercise for the first time or returning to exercise, either way, allow yourself some space to be a beginner and to grow. And then once you're back in, be consistent. I find it is much better to stay in a relatively active and healthy state than it is to get back to that state. Like I said, it's something I'm struggling now with at the moment and have struggled with for different periods of time where I will be kind of in a better state in terms of physical fitness, in terms of my weight, in terms of my eating habits, and then life happens, and things change. So it's much easier for us to work to stay consistent than to try to get back to a place where we felt a bit better. So maybe those are things that I can talk about in another video in terms of health and wellness with regards to food and eating habits and things like that. But for now, I just want to say, if you are returning to your sport or trying a new sport, stick with it. You can do it. Allow yourself some space to grow, to progress slowly, to keep yourself safe. These are my still small words for the week. Not really biblically inspired, but just kind of inspired from my own personal struggles. And the purpose of these videos are to remind my future self that life doesn't have to be so hard. And hopefully those videos will inspire others. And if they do so, that's great. So if you watched to this point, I would like to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. And until next time, bye.